What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to what's going to be somewhat of a regular slot. We're going to try and do a 5 o'clock to half 5 news update stream, and then we'll be live at half 8 as always. So, where possible, I will be jumping on a at 5 o'clock to, to just give an update on where we are with regards to injuries, news, and stuff like that. So, as always, thank you guys for being with me. Immediately want to go to the chat, and I just want to point out something that Caden Walsh has said. So, Caden, why do I need to stop blaming it on Darwin? And secondly, where did I blame it on Darwin? So I get it. People want to vent. They want to have a pop at me. They want to whinge. I seen it all yesterday. I spent my entire evening just reading through slander of me in the chat. So where did I blame Darwin? I said Darwin was crap because he was crap. Did I blame him on the result? I think I pretty much blamed the result on the manager, if I'm being honest with you. So I thought you were one of these people in the chat, mate, that had my back and understood where I came from. Clearly, I don't know, I've misjudged. And I spent last night literally just seeing one comment after another slaughter me, and I don't need it in here. So, sorry, mate, but I didn't blame him, and I'm not going to put up with that either. So, hope you enjoyed watching the stream so far, dude, but that's the end of me and you on this one. So, we move on, and we talk about what we have to talk about. It's frustrating, yesterday's result. It's still lingering with me. But I get it. Look, I understand people need to vent. I'm the same. I vented yesterday. I got it off my chest. Unfortunately for me, when I vent, it stays on the internet. So that's what I sometimes wish people would just think, well, what was I like at home in that moment? Because I guarantee you weren't up celebrating that we were so poor. I guarantee you weren't calling Klopp a genius. Now, you may not have gone as far as I do when I'm this, but I wear my heart on my sleeve. This is who I am. I can't change for anybody, nor do I want to. But yes, it was a particularly tough day all around because yes, it was crap on the pitch. Yes, it was frustrating much of what went on. Yes, it was very anticlimactical. But then immediately people just want scapegoats. And I get it. It's part of the industry we're in. But ultimately, nobody will convince me that that was anything other than a massive failure yesterday. A massive opportunity missed. And a chance to stick the dagger into our fiercest rivals to go back to the top of the Premier League. And we didn't do that, unfortunately. So I'm frustrated. I'm sorry if that goes over the top at times, and I do appreciate it. I do appreciate that some people look at it and think he's going a bit mad here. He's going a bit. I get it, but it's who I am. So I'm not going to change for anyone at this point in my life. All I can say to you guys is I do it because genuinely it's how I feel. It impacts me in that way. And I get that football does different things to different people. So I'm not here to judge all of you. But I expected a little bit better from some of the people who've been around me for years at this point. To see us lose about 300 subscribers last night just because I dared to call out a couple of people's poor performances, I found it a little bit frustrating. But again, as I said, it is the industry we're in. It is the opinions business. And I've got to take it on the chin and move on. And it is what it is. I can't change it. I'd do it all again. That's the only thing I'd say. I'd say it all again. I'd do it all again. Because it's genuinely how I felt in that moment. What else we got? Darwin Nunez, the GOAT. Support him and you're one of us. No, you see, I'm never going to be somebody that blindly just says everything's great and supports everybody. Yesterday, all week, we built the game up to be a huge game against our biggest rivals, biggest crowd at Anfield for 50 years. And we played so poorly that it just stings. And I'm never going to blindly support anybody. I think I've been one of the biggest defenders of Darwin Nunez during his time at Liverpool Football Club. I mean, you'll probably struggle to find a video outside of yesterday where I critique the guy. But maybe it's because of my own expectations going into that game yesterday, which I'll be honest with you, I did have big expectations on Darwin yesterday because he'd been so poor recently. And I just felt like this was going to be the game where maybe he puts it together and makes a statement. And he didn't do that. So that could be on me. Maybe I expected too much. But ultimately, what we seen yesterday, it just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't against a really, really poor team. And if it was any other team, I don't think I'd have reacted in such a way. If we'd have been playing Brighton yesterday and we played like that, I'd been frustrated, but not as frustrated. The frustration comes from who it was that we were playing and how poor they were. Mark, thank you for gifting a membership, mate. Appreciate you. Sam said, Craig, don't ban me for this. I'm not going to ban you for having an opinion, mate. I'm never going to ban somebody for just having an opinion. Darwin isn't in form right now, and obviously his confidence is low, which means he gets scared in front of goal. And saying that Salah needs to go, he doesn't. So, the Salah thing, if I have one regret on yesterday, it's the comment of sell Salah now. That comment, yeah. I even said it in my Discord last night. On that, I definitely have to put my hands up. But I'm going to stick with what I said, though, with regards to he's not passing the eye test. And I don't think I'm the only one that truly thinks that in the chat. I think he's just not passing the eye test at the minute, Mohamed Salah. And I think his statistics, although still very impressive, I think we're papering over the cracks somewhat with regards to what we're getting from our attackers at the minute. And it's not just any particular one of them. You can look at the front three yesterday and for a number of reasons say to yourself, they didn't show up. We didn't really test Andre Onana's goal too much. And I get it. Once I criticise Salah, I open myself up. I've been doing this for years. I know the flow of these conversations. But I think also sometimes people need to keep context to what I'm saying. So if you go back and watch what I said sell Salah. But is that really such a bad thing to say from the context of it's most likely going to happen? Like right now, we're looking at Salah's situation. There's no sign of a new deal. There's no conversation about a new deal. There's no media stories about a new deal. So something's going to have to happen in the summer. And I think he'll be sold. That's always been my opinion. I've said that for months on the channel. If there's no sign of a new deal and the new deal is what everybody wants, then sell him. Because you can't let him run down his contract for free. But so again, I feel like I might not have expressed myself in the best way. And for that, of course, I'll hold my hands up. But just remember one thing. When I say something that stays on the internet, when you guys vent at home or when you're with your mates or when you're at the game or whatever, you can vent I don't want to mean nobody cares, but it's not going to be held against you. Everything I say gets held against me. But that's the industry, I guess. So I got to be big enough to take that on the chin and move on. So let's start with the news updates and where we are. So we're awaiting results of a scan for Ryan Gravenberch, and hopefully it's something minor. The biggest loss yesterday from that game, other than the points, was obviously seeing Ryan Gravenberch having to go off, feeling his hamstring. So when we get an update on that, of course, we'll bring it to you. Diogo Jota, we're still awaiting news of when he will actually be back. McAllister, looking unlikely for Wednesday for West Ham. Could be at the weekend against Arsenal, but that's going to be tight by the looks of it. So again, we'll keep you up to date with that as the week goes on. Jota should start as centre forward from now on, said Harris. Excuse me. That was a game yesterday where we definitely could have done with Diogo. He has a great knack of just being in that right place, right time and getting a goal. It doesn't matter if it's a worldie or if it's a little miss-hit over the line. He just has a habit of being in the right place. So yeah, unfortunately yesterday was a day we probably could have done with him. But I still stand over what I said about Darwin. I don't know what more we can do. And so I've always said one thing. I'm worried about Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool and us only having won one of everything because he's a generational manager. And that frustration comes out yesterday and comes out in days like that where, as I said, maybe my own expectations were what were wrong with Darwin. I was expecting him to have a big game yesterday and he just didn't. And then he picked up the petulant yellows and there was arguments about whether he should have got a second yellow for mouthing back towards the referee. And it just feels like, at what point is he going to learn some of these lessons? And don't even get me started on the offside trap. Because no matter what side of this debate you're on, whether you think I overreact or not, you can't tell me it's not frustrating seeing your €100 million centre forward getting caught offside 3 times a game, most games. It's silly. He has pace. He doesn't need to be right on the edge. And the situations where he found himself offside yesterday, they weren't really a ball over the top and he's timing a run. A lot of them were just a little 5-10 yard pass that he was lazy and wasn't looking across the line. And that's infuriating when chances are few and far between and you're in an attacking area and you're getting these just silly little offsides. It's frustrating as hell to watch. Queen Nadra, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Said we have to learn to break low block teams. Seen it at Luton and Manchester United. Our game against Burnley will be the same with a low block. James said many players playing on reputation except Alisson. Wait, look, I agree with you. And I think I said as much yesterday. But look, I know how I word things is always off emotion. But yeah, Alisson was top notch again yesterday. Weirdly, United created the best chance of that game, and it was only because of Alisson standing up tall and making himself big against Højlund that, we didn't lose it, thankfully. Do you think Liverpool are still in the title race? Of course. How could I say we're not, And that's one thing even yesterday. You didn't see those words come out of my mouth. For all the moaning, for all the finger pointing, I never once said the title race is over because it's a long way from over. Last night we had the chance to get ourselves back top of the table, to move that gap in Manchester City, and we didn't really do it. And now we've given City a sniff back in. We've got a very difficult game coming up against the confident Arsenal team that did their job at the weekend. They beat Brighton. Then you see Aston Villa. They go to Brentford. They go 1-0 down. They get the result. And we didn't capitalise. And that's what makes it disappointing, because if we go out and we're beaten by a better team, or we're played off the park, or the situation that happens at Spurs happens, you can kind of understand it. But when you go out and just play such a dour, drab, passionless 0-0 against a team that we all knew were coming to defend, and we looked like we had no plan. We looked like we had no thought process of how to break this team down. And it makes you wonder, well, with Trent being rested, with Verge being rested, with Salah being rested, and Alisson being rested, all not travelled over to Belgium, what was the good of it? Because it doesn't feel like we benefited from that decision. Yes, of course, there's less minutes, less travelling in their legs. That's the obvious. But did we see that benefit on the pitch? I would argue we didn't. Maybe learn from Uruguay. Bielsa knows how a player like Darwin should be used. See, that's another frustrating thing though, isn't it? Like, we went out and bought Darwin. You would assume the plan was there when we bought him as to what we're going to do to get the best out of him. Yeah, and I don't know how to... Oh, look, Bielsa knows how to do it, and I agree with what you've said. He's been in phenomenal form for Uruguay. But for us, we don't seem at this moment in time to be getting the benefit of Darwin. I think Salah is missing competition. The only one he has is Ben Doak. So on Salah, I stand over everything I said except for the sell stuff. Salah's not been great lately. I've said he's working hard. I've never said that against them. But you can't tell me you're not getting frustrated when he cuts in on his left foot and shot after shot after shot is blocked or cross is blocked. Look at our two wide forwards yesterday on either side. Pick one. Diaz on this side, Salah on this side. Both of them spent most of their time cutting inside and running into congested areas. We had the width of the pitch because United were giving us the wide areas. They were focusing on a low block. They were focusing on balls coming into the penalty area. And all we did was play to that strength. We didn't get to the byline enough. We didn't look to pull balls back. We didn't look for third man runners. We just ran into the congested areas and tried to play little 1-2 flicks in and around when the whole width of the pitch was there. And it was Mohamed Salah and it was Diaz. And it doesn't matter which side we were on, they were both doing the same thing because they're inverted wingers. Their natural instinct was to get onto their stronger foot and come inside. Only that wasn't beneficial to us yesterday as a team. It just wasn't. Queen Nadra said, Arsenal are giving themselves confidence that they can beat us, but I think we'll have a reaction. Well, we have to have a reaction because we can't lose to Arsenal. If we lose to Arsenal, we're falling away in the title race. We've got to go to the Emirates then second half of the season. We've still got to go to Villa Park. But a win at the weekend, Queen Nadra, would certainly make us forget about last weekend. It's just scary. That's what all it is. It's just scary because it feels like, as a fan, for me, the title's there to be won by somebody. Somebody who can grab the league by the scruff of the neck, get themselves 3, 4, 5 wins on the bounce. do a decent bit of business in January. It feels like it's there to be won, and I don't feel we're putting our best foot forward. Jack said, bad feeling Arsenal wallops us, mate, based on form. If McAllister's back, and I hope he is, I think we're in with a good shot. Very tough to see Gravenberch go off yesterday, because I think we'll agree he's been pretty good since he's joined us. So yeah, it is going to be a shame. And look, I wanted to also have a conversation around Dominic Szoboszlai. And not a conversation where I'm looking to slate Dominic, a conversation about what's happening. Because the body language yesterday looked like, and I'm trying to read his body language, but it looked like either a couple of things. He's fatigued mentally and physically, or he's lacking confidence, or maybe not settling. And I don't know the answer. I really don't. But I know that he's better than we're seeing. And we've seen better than we're seeing. So my argument to you guys, or my suggestion, I think we give Harvey Elliott the run. At least against West Ham, we play Elliott. I think he's earned that right. And I think maybe taking Dominic out of the limelight for a minute or two, let him catch a beat, rest up a little bit. I think that will be better for us at the moment, because we're not seeing the Dominic Szoboszlai we know. But I think he is tired by the looks of it. He looked disinterested, and I don't mean that like he doesn't care. I mean that from the point of view of the game passed him by. He broke up with his girl. Must be tough. To be fair, I get that. Jesus, I mean, heartache is not something you can just shrug your shoulders and move on with. So, yeah, that must be tough for him. You know, that settling into a new city, obviously. So yeah, we need to rally around and get behind the kid. What about Curtis Jones? He needs to be sold. So, I think... No, I wouldn't sell Curtis Jones. I've already been in that conversation last season. I think I'm seeing enough from Curtis Jones to say that there is a benefit to having him in and around the squad. And yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a midfield of Elliott and Curtis Jones play against West Ham. Just see what they're like. See if we get that youthful energy. And also, yesterday felt like a really big chance missed to play Trent in the number 6 from the start. You know, we knew United were going to come and sit deep. They came with 2 deep-lying midfielders in Kobe Mainoo and Sofiane Amrabat. And I thought, yeah, maybe yesterday we put Trent in there, put Joe at right back from the start and take the game to United. But we didn't. And I thought that was an opportunity missed as well. Because if it didn't work out, Klopp would have had an easy get out of jail card and said, well, we tried it in this game, it didn't work, yada yada, you know, because it was Endo yesterday or somebody else in the 6. So felt like I would have liked to have seen Trent given that run. Thank you, Craig, for doing this stream at 10:30pm instead of 2am. I'm going to try, Faraz, between now and the end of January, I'm going to try to do as many 5 o'clock, 30-40 minute streams as I can. And there'll also still be a 8:30 stream. So just for you guys going forward, the 5:30 or the 5 o'clock streams will be new stuff. And then we'll do the transfer stuff at about 8:30 when we come back on. Our defence was pretty solid yesterday. Yeah, defence was certainly okay. I swear to God, lads, this... oh, that's that. Yeah, our defence was alright yesterday, but they didn't have much to defend. See, I often find this a little bit interesting. If you go and defend deep against us, we don't have much to do. So I find it hard to praise the defence because we still gave up opportunities yesterday. You know, we said this before, but I believe they had the best chance of the game with Hoyland's opportunity. So yes, I guess our defence did okay, but we weren't up against much either. Neo said you overreacted yesterday, if I'm honest. I get it, Neo. I understand it. As I said, I've been around this industry long enough, mate, that I understand if people think I'm over the top. But look, you can't have 2 versions of me. I can't be the guy that when we're winning and doing great, I'm all happy and buzzing and fun of whatever. And then when things aren't going well, obviously I go to the other end of the scale because that's who I am. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And you can't have one version of me without the other. So I understand it when people say you went over the top. I appreciate where you're coming from, but it is me. It's who I am, and I can't apologise for being me. And also, I do think we were crap yesterday, and I think that can't escape anyone's attention. If this wasn't just a game, this was Manchester United. A home, a weak United, a frail United, a United that was there for the taking, and we let them off the hook. I spoke all week about imposing our will on them, about making them quit. We didn't do that. So I don't understand how anybody can have a reaction outside of disappointment. Now, of course, how you convey that disappointment, that's open to interpretation. But as I keep saying, you all don't have cameras on you at home. So if you're reacting and you're swearing and shouting, it's forgotten about in a moment. For me, it's there on the internet for the world to use. And they do, especially when results don't go our way, because people want to vent and people need to find people to moan at. And I guess that's where I come in. But that's all right. I'm old enough to understand that. Why are you guys moaning about United celebrating a draw? I literally never once moaned about United celebrating a draw. Not once. I don't understand that comment. You guys came with a plan and got a result. I get that. I feel like you're just trying to invent a scenario that hasn't happened to have a dig at Liverpool fans. So I don't understand what the point is. You guys celebrated a draw against us at the Etihad. Did we? Yeah, I don't get that comment, mate, because I don't believe it's true. I didn't once moan at United yesterday for celebrating a draw, because they came with a game plan and they left with a point. So their game plan worked. So I have nothing to moan about in that regard. My only moaning yesterday was inwardly at our boys. Really productive title and hate. See, this is what pisses me off. Show me on that thumbnail or title where it says sell Darwin, it's the end of his career. Show me anywhere on that thumbnail. I'm asking a question in the chat. If the answer to the question is no, keep Darwin, Darwin's amazing, then that's the conversation we have in the chat. If the conversation is no, Darwin's not been good enough, I think we should look to sell, then that's the conversation we have in the chat. So again, I don't understand what you're moaning at me for. The thumbnail is no hate in it whatsoever. The thumbnail asks a question. That's what these shows are about. It's not about me coming on and just giving you my take for 40 minutes. It's about giving you guys a chance to have your say. So I'm all up for being criticised, but not for that, because I didn't do anything there. Never change, Craig. Much love. Thoughts on Thiago? Just a frustrating last season of his Liverpool contract. It just is frustration on Thiago, because you had the guy who had his operation early to try and get him back for the start of the new season, and it's just dragged on. Craig, people are protecting Darwin way too much. Look, I get it. People want to defend our players. I'm not going to have a go at anyone for that. But my point is, when people don't play well, we as fans should be able to say that people don't play well. We as fans should be able to say he was crap. And some people think that's the opposite of being a football fan. Others understand where we're coming from. It's a very personal thing. So I try not to judge other people for their views, but, in the industry I'm in, I'm here to be judged, and that's all right. I'll say what I said yesterday. Darwin was terrible, Salah was terrible, Diaz was terrible, Szoboszlai was terrible, Klopp's decision making and substitutions were terrible. And I don't know how any rational-minded human being could look at that game yesterday and not feel the same way. Because did we win? Did we put United to the sword? Are we top of the league today? Did United come and play us off the park? No, they sat and defended, and we, like we've been struggling to do for a very long time, allowed that game to get to the point where United built confidence, allowed that game to get to the point where we became frustrated and started taking pot shots. And I don't know how many times we have to see a team like that come to Anfield before Jurgen finds a way to set us up to counteract that. What we should have done yesterday was go balls out in attack, run at them from the start, get as many attack-minded players on the pitch as possible, including in midfield, and overran them. If we score the first goal in that game yesterday inside the first half hour, it's over. It is over. They start feeling sorry for themselves, or they have to come and have a go and we exploit them on the counter. But all we did was let them build confidence. And that came from an abject performance. That's my take on yesterday's game. And the frustration comes because we've seen this so many times over the years. Low block teams, frustration, and then sometimes we find a way, sometimes we don't. And yesterday we never looked likely to really find a way. The problem is Gakpo is hardly an improvement, said Trouser Jam. The problem for me yesterday was a little bit of the players, but a little bit of the system as well. Like, there's no part of me understands why Klopp didn't make the changes he needed to make earlier. I don't get it. The days of giving the players the 15-20 minutes at the start of the second half to figure it out, I think should be gone. Because if they hadn't figured out that low block in the multiple other games previously, I don't see what another 15 minutes yesterday was going to do for the players who weren't able to find that cutting edge. Craig, you say it as it is, never change. Look, I'm going to be honest, because I tried to be honest with you guys. Days like yesterday are very tough to take mentally for myself, because of course everyone's angry. I'm angry, you're angry, the world's angry from a Liverpool perspective. And people want to point and people want to find scapegoats. And sometimes I use the player as a scapegoat, sometimes people use me as a scapegoat. But I'm not here to be abused. And read through the comments from yesterday. It's tough to read and take. And it makes you say, how many more years can I do this for? How many more seasons have I got in me? And every year I promise the team the season. That's all I ever do. I say to them in the summer, we'll do another year and then we'll review it. We'll do another year and then we'll review it. I don't know if I'm going to review it this summer. I truly just do not know, because it takes its toll. I'm a human being. But look, it's a long way away. We'll keep our head down and see where we end up. But it's tough. Like, look at my day yesterday. So we had a shitty result. I lost subscribers because I was critical of players. And then I come in today and I see more abusive comments about me in the chat before I start. It's tough, man. But I get it. People need to vent. Why did you call for Salah to be sold? I've explained this and I'm happy to explain it again. What do you think is going to happen with Mohamed Salah? Let me ask UK Bants. Oh, no, not that one. Sorry. Where was the comment? Embo. EMBO. I'm going to ask you the question and I really sincerely would love your answer. What do you think is going to happen with Salah? Taking aside yesterday's performance or whatever you think about me, what do you think will happen with Salah? I would suggest he's going to be sold. Not because I want him to be sold, but because the situation lends itself towards him being sold. There has been no talk of an extension, no murmurings of it behind the scenes. So you have two options then. You let him run down his contract and leave for free at 33, or you sell him. And my point is, sell him. If we're not going to see the same Mohamed Salah that we've seen for the past few years, and an option of 100 or 150 million pound comes in, what right-minded person wouldn't sell? So I don't get it. Use my words against me by all means, but use them in context. I've said for ages I think he's gone in the summer, so I said sell him. Fuck it, take 150 million quid and sell him. Because that forward line yesterday still can't break down a low block. And Mohamed Salah recently hasn't passed the eye test. His last goal was okay, took a deflection and went in. scored a penalty before that. I'm not seeing the same Salah. So, honestly, I would sell. That's my take. It isn't just on yesterday. Yesterday was just a culmination of frustrations. I'm trying to see if the dude that asked me the question answered, because I want to try to be fair and give him an opportunity to answer. Craig, don't be a critic. That's not even an English sentence, mate. And I will absolutely be critical if I think that I need to be critical. You can watch Red Men TV or somebody else. Craig, people want to see fake positive vibes instead of saying the truth. Well, you're on the wrong channel for that. I am what I am. I say what I see. I'm not saying I'm right, but I say what I see. Craig, it's time Cody Gakpo got his role back. Darwin seems more effective coming from the bench. I also don't know what to say about missing 70% of our chances and then suddenly wins us a game. I think we'll see Cody Gakpo given the opportunity in one of the two games this week, the cop-handed. I don't know whether that's going to be the West Ham game of the weekend, but I do think... See, Klopp either goes one or two ways with Darwin on this situation. He either rolls him out again on Wednesday, hoping something again clicks and he has a moment and it springs him into life and form, or he says to Cody Gakpo, you're getting a run now through the centre, fella. Go wearing that shirt. I don't know the answer. I don't know which way Klopp will be thinking. But I do agree with everybody that said it definitely felt like a game where we missed Diogo Jota yesterday. Sorry, I'm still trying to find if this gentleman answered because... Oh, okay, he did. He said, okay, that's understandable. I thought in the moment he was calling for his head because he had a bad game. No, look, even in my match reaction and player ratings, Embo, I pointed out how lucky we were to have had Mo. I appreciate Mo. I appreciate everything he's done. I appreciate him as a human being. But sometimes in football, it gets to the point where you've got to make a tough call for the benefit of the bigger picture. And I don't know, man. I think he's not the same player he was, and I don't think he's having as big an impact in that wide area as he once did. I feel like when he comes in on his left foot and cuts inside these days, more often than not, he's crowded out, or the situation breaks down and we win a second ball, or we try to win a second ball from a deflected or blocked shot. And it doesn't feel like the same Salah that used to zip inside and pick out the far corner. It just feels like even yesterday there was one occasion where he did manage to get away. He cut onto his left foot and he tried to pick out the far corner, and it was so weak. Onana barely had to come across to grab it. Like, I just don't see the same man. I think some fans are more in love with players than the club. Yeah, I've highlighted that on a few occasions, mate. And maybe it's understandable. So I'm a bit more old school. I know that Liverpool Football Club will have great players, but I also know they're going to leave. So whether it's Gerrard, Suarez, Torres, being there, seeing it, enjoyed it, but ultimately they move on. But the club remains, as you've always said. So my loyalty is always to the club, not a player. Diaz should be on the bench. Why the hell can he dribble past anyone? Never mind. So Diaz absolutely comes in for criticism for me yesterday. Diaz was infuriating yesterday because there was a couple of occasions where Dalot had given him the opportunity to go wide and he still cuts inside. And there was one particular occasion where Costas had even overlapped on the outside and Diaz still cuts inside and runs into traffic. And that was infuriating, man. So I don't disagree on Diaz yesterday. I'm not trying to say there was only one reason why we were poor yesterday. There was 6 or 7. Salah still in the top 3 strikers. I mean, I don't know what to say to that, Steve. He's stat padding. Tell me when he picks up the ball, Steve, in a wide area now, that you've got belief he's going to make something happen. Because I used to. You know, look back at the Spurs games, the Man City games. You see that Mohamed Salah running at defenders and scaring the life out of them and cutting inside and drawing fouls and scoring goals. These days, I expect a bobble off a defender's legs, the ball to either break wide for a second opportunity or his shot cross to be blocked. So, if he's still in the top 3 scorers, well, you took Harry Kane out of the Premier League, so there goes one huge goal scorer. And let's be honest, even look at your FPL now, the striker department's severely lacking in the Premier League outside of Haaland. Haaland, Salah, and then there's a massive drop-off to the best of the rest. You've got your Ollie Watkins and players like that. So, it's not really a glorious time for strikers in the Premier League. Don't let the hate get you down. Think of the presence of Salah with his reputation could be affecting the development of younger forwards. I really appreciate you've said that, Rain, but it is getting me down. Because I feel like I let people down, mate, that when these things happen. Because I take my role very seriously, and I respect everybody in our chat. So yeah, when days like yesterday happen, I take it to heart. But I also understand where people are coming from. I'm not trying to play the victim here. I said what I said. But as I keep saying, my comments stay on the internet. Other people can say what they want and it goes away. So I was frustrated. I was frustrated yesterday. But look, appreciate your super chat, mate. Thank you. If you ever feel dumb, remember someone said Klopp out. Yeah, now see, thankfully I haven't said that. It just feels frustrating because, I don't know, maybe we all built that game up. And the weird thing is I even tried to temper expectations during the week by saying, I don't think this is going to be a 6, 7 or 8 or anything. But I did still expect a comfortable win for us yesterday. And it didn't happen. And that is the frustrating part. Darwin has been offside 14 times this season. Doesn't even start all the time. Haaland's been offside once, said Sam. So, I jokingly, Sam, said to Adam yesterday, watch Darwin. At least 2 offsides, guaranteed. Easiest bet you'll ever have. And he had a hat-trick of offsides by, I think, 10 minutes into the second half. And he's a €100 million striker. And whatever about missing chances, or whatever about lacking in confidence, that's under 8 stuff. Like, if you had a kid who constantly was getting caught offside, and you'd spend time saying to the kid, look, your job here as a striker, look across that line. If you need to arc your run, arc way. And what gets me about Darwin, Sam, more is he's not like he doesn't have pace. So, like, he's not a Harry Kane, who's a poacher, whose instincts are there, but doesn't have that natural. Darwin can give a defender a yard or two and still get past them. So I feel like he's more chance to err on the side of caution, but it just feels like a lack of concentration. Are we getting Polinia? I'll be discussing that at 8:30, Ibrahim. We'll be back at 8:30 for the transfer show, and we'll be going through Polinia, a little bit on Andre, because that situation's getting interesting, and a few bits and pieces as well. Excuse me. Only just seeing your response to me. Spoken well, my friend. Much love. Thank you. So if we had this conversation yesterday, I'd probably act like an asshole, mate, because I was hyped up. I was in the moment, and I don't have an off switch when I get to that point. My mother always told me my mouth will get me into trouble, and sometimes it does. But all I can say is I can't be the lunatic, happy, smiley fella without the other guy, because it's just the way I'm wired. But I need to tame that occasionally, and that's on me, nobody else. West Ham game will be interesting. We surely rest half the team. I don't know. I'm struggling with that one, Lorcan. I'm actually about to record the preview for it in a minute. I think we need to go pretty strong because it's the quarterfinal of the Cup. We're at home. And if we beat West Ham on Wednesday, we have a 2-legged semi-final and a chance for another trophy. And we need to start putting away silverware under Jurgen Klopp. So I think we have to take this game seriously, and I'd like to see us go pretty strong, because it's a trophy. And in the early rounds, yeah, you can roll the dice, maybe put some of the younger players out, but I think this needs to be a bit more of a measured response with regards to the team selection. So your Elliots, your Jones, perhaps. Now you can tinker elsewhere in the team, of course, but I'd go fairly strong. I believe we should go full strength against West Ham to build confidence. Mentality is greater than physical fatigue. Well, yeah, we gave some rest, Shark Bay, for the game against Union Saint-Gilloise. And I agree with you. I think we need to keep getting into that winning mentality. Because I know you've probably played sport yourselves, but if you haven't, it's a lot easier to keep people upbeat when you're winning. You find that little bit of energy when you're winning. But if you're struggling, your form's not great, it's harder to grind things out. So getting into a winning habit is definitely a good thing. Craig, we've not been good, but we've clutched games somehow. Yep. And I warned about that all week as well, mate. But that's okay. Winning ugly is part of winning a title. You don't have to always be at your best. But sometimes, for us, the warning signs can be there, right? With the lack of a great display. So yeah, maybe we shouldn't have been as surprised at yesterday's performance, because we've been getting away with it a little bit for a while because of last gasp winners and to be fair to the players, tremendous courage in those moments to keep going for the winner. But yesterday it just felt like one of the days we could have been there for 3-4 hours and we wouldn't have scored. What did Darwin do wrong yesterday? He was caught offside 3 times. First, picked up another petulant yellow card, which could have become a red card very easily for continuously moaning at the ref. So he could have put us down to 10 men again. I tell you what, rather than me saying what did he do wrong, why don't you tell me what he did right? And that's not a sarcastic question. Like, I've explained best I can why I felt frustrated and let down by him. So why don't you tell me why I'm wrong and what he did right yesterday? Because honestly, dude, I didn't see too much positive stuff from Darwin yesterday. Okay, second City Saints. I don't know if you're trying to banter or whatever, but I'm not going to go in on Klopp. I'm not going to read out your comment. And the idea of you talking about finances as a City fan, with all due respect, mate, don't make me fucking laugh. You'll get what's coming to you eventually with the 115 charges. Until then, just do your own thing, bud. Just don't bother me with your silliness. Right, look. I'm going to go, because this was only supposed to be a 30-40 minute show. But I will see you at 8:30, and we'll go through everything in more depth. We'll have the transfer news. Today I just wanted to come on, let you guys know about this show we're going to be starting to do from 5 p.m. most days. I also wanted to just try and express, I guess, my sorrow and my apology if people felt I was over the top occasionally yesterday. I understand it, I hear you, I appreciate it, and we'll move on. So yeah, much love to you, thank you. And I did overreact, mate, but you can't say to me, be the Craig who overreacts when things are good, be the Craig who banters, sings, laughs, and then not be the Craig who overreacts in a negative way. It's part of who I am, and I can't change that. Nor do I want to be honest with you, because it gives me the opportunity to vent, and when I vent, it's over like that in my head. Like, when I get it all out, 5 minutes later, it's done. So it works for me, but I appreciate where you're coming from, and I will take it on board. So look, I'll talk to you guys at 8:30, hopefully. Cheers, have a good one, much love, and keep an eye out as well for the news video that will be coming out in a while. Thank you for your support. Apologies again yesterday. If I offended anybody, I'll take it, I'll listen.